Hi everyone, comic book reviewer here. This time reviewing on Garfield the Movie. Now, as you know, Garfield the Movie, or as it was simply known as, Garfield, was a 2004 live action animated comedy film based on Jim Davis' comic book script Garfield. And after my friend Sean showed me, yeah, obviously Garfield and Friends, making jokes and talking about the characters, I decided to personally review the film. And after sitting down to rewatch the 2004 film, the best I can say is that it is being Garfield, but it has to wear the skin of a different property. So the premise of the film is meant to follow Garfield, who is this overweight, free-spirited orange tabby cat who lives with his owner John Arbuckle. And we kind of see how John decides to adopt Odie to impress Liz, and we kind of see how John gets more attached to Odie, leaving Garfield to be jealous, annoyed, as well as frustrated that Odie's getting the attention except him. And the whole plot is just basically doing what I think the Garfield and Friends episode Attention Getting Garfield was trying to do, but trying to do it in a different style to it. For the most part, I do feel like, yeah, what they were going with, Wrecker Mera being John Arbuckle, having this kind of more sort of playboyish attitude, this kind of more handsome guy feel. But I think what made John Arbuckle's character design work more in the comics is that John had that kind of look and feel of that guy who was just average. He had this normal life. He was just kind of like this average guy living a boring everyday life. And I can see what they were going with Jennifer Love Hewitt being Liz, obviously looking more of this kind of more pretty face. I think what made Liz's design work was that she was literally almost like John, an average woman living her normal life. And for the most part, I do give them credit in going with obviously Bill Murray being Garfield, having that kind of feel of that kind of laid back attitude. But I think they should have gone with Bill Fagerbrake, who voiced Patrick Star in SpongeBob, because I think his voice and tone could fit what I think Garfield got right at. Because it does feel like when he voices Patrick, it does feel like what I think Lorenzo Music could have been if he had been the voice for Patrick Star. And I do give the film credit is that when it has to kind of go with the film's main villain, Happy Chapman, it definitely goes back to that time of the Garfield and Friends villains. Like most of them being these cartoony, over-the-top villains. These kind of villains who get their just desserts. And we do kind of see how much like how Garfield Field has to put up with Odie's nuisanceness and does have his limits with him. Beneath it all, he does care about Odie. He does show deep down, despite, yeah, Odie getting on his nerves, Garfield always had a soft spot for Odie. It's like Homer with basically Ned Flanders. It's like basically Brian with Quagmire. It's kind of also like Flash Thompson with Peter Parker. I think deep down we've all had that soft spot for a certain person that we disliked, and we know we didn't want anything bad to happen to them. I think the main problem I think the film suffers from is also going with other Garfield characters, just making them look normal, kind of like animals. I think the problem is making characters like Normal, Arlene, as well as Lewis look like normal animals. It takes away the whole design feel, as well as what made the sort of designs for the Garfield animal characters work. They were unique, they were different, they actually had that kind of look and feel you would see from the comic book script. And I also do feel like, yeah, the whole plot of the episode, once again, is being Attention Getting Garfield, but it also definitely has a hard truth moral about the consequences of being selfish, entitled, as well as kind of expecting that the whole world works around you. And when Garfield does end up being selfish, lazy, as well as thinking everything's about him, you see how his friends, the people around him, have justified reasons for being furious with him. And this has happened before in the Garfield and Friends cartoon, where Garfield's greed, his all about me attitude, as well as being entitled, may call as well now for being selfish and lazy. Again, is Garfield the movie a good movie? Kind of. But it definitely has its moments where it is trying to improve and work around the Garfield and Friends episode, Attention Getting Garfield. It's improving on what that episode was trying to do. Here, it's trying to do more with that. So it definitely deserves a thumbs in the middle. Kind of alright, but kind of okay. So, comic book reviewer here, signing out.